How's it going, everyone? Today we have a story of a Gen Z kid who actually knocks out his teacher in class because the teacher wasn't letting him be on TikTok all day. This is an absolutely crazy story, so leave a like to claim your free nothing. Subscribe if you're new, and let's jump right into it. So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Alan. So anyways, right, in Alan's class, there's a Gen Z kid, and we're just going to call them Gen Z. And some people have been in the comment section being like, oh, isn't everyone a Gen Z kid? Like, no, when I say Gen Z kid, I don't literally mean the generation. I mean the person who's on TikTok all day. Their pastimes are literally scrolling on Instagram and writing really long Twitter threads trying to cancel people. When I say Gen Z kid, that's what I mean, by the way. So anyways, one day in class, Alan was just sitting there, and the Gen Z kid was on his phone. There was a pretty strict no phone policy at this school, so it was pretty obvious that like the teacher wasn't going to like this. And the Gen Z kid wasn't just kind of like casually on his phone looking at Twitter or something, like kind of sneakily. He was full on listening to TikToks, and he was listening to full blast. Like, I get it if you're on your phone a little bit. Like, sometimes, even in a class, I'm really not supposed to have my phone out. I will sometimes flip it open just to, like, to check out what, I don't know. Sometimes I'll do it. It's a bad habit. But I'll never have, like, watch a YouTube video full blast, right? This kid was listening to TikToks full blast. So the teacher obviously notices this and is like, hey, Gen Z kid, can you not be on your phone? Which, like, Alan was actually kind of surprised of such a chill reaction. So they were in 8th grade. And every teacher at their school would go crazy over the phone. Like, if they saw a kid have a phone out, they would almost have an aneurysm in class, bro. They would start yelling at the student. They'd immediately take the phone. Like, Alan has never seen a situation where a teacher catches a kid on their phone and doesn't immediately take it and put it in some bin or like hide it from them or send them to the front office. Yeah, some kid was literally sent to the front office from just being on a phone, which I agree that's a little ridiculous. However, that's just to kind of give you context of how strict these teachers were. So Alan's teacher was actually kind of chill. I mean, he said, you got to put your phone away and I better not see you on it again, which, I guess that wasn't like, oh, you can do what you want. But these are 8th graders, and like the teacher's actually being pretty chill with a rule that they'd normally be a lot less chill with. So yeah, sure enough, Alan watches as the Gen Z kid. Instead of being like, oh, I'm so sorry, because like, I don't know, when I get caught doing something, I'm always like, hey, that's my fault, bro, that's my fault. But no, the Gen Z kid was like, if you demand me to do so, I guess I'll have to. Like, bro was actually having attitude when the teacher gave him like an opportunity to redeem himself. Anyways, right, so the Gen Z kid from this point on is like really upset for the rest of class. He's just so mad that, he wasn't able to be on his phone on TikTok all day. When bro was upset, he really should have been grateful that the teacher was so chill, because he was able to keep his phone. It's something that the students weren't even really allowed to have on them unless it was like silenced, powered down, and in their backpacks. Dude just put it back into his pocket, and the teacher was super chill with it, but he had such an attitude, which is pretty crazy since, as I explained, the school was really strict. Anyways, this is not the first time. Basically, the second time, or a day later, literally not even 2 days passes before this kid goes on it again. I mean, man must really think that he is, invincible, made of steel. Like, nothing can stop him at this point, because he honestly just the next day whips out his phone and starts going on TikTok again. He doesn't even try and conceal it at this point. He literally just puts it on full blast like he did before. I mean, man isn't even a good AI. He's not a good learning computer at all. He just made the same mistake as yesterday. You know that saying that, like, doing the same thing again and again and expecting something different is the definition of insanity. Well, doing something again and again and expecting something different, aka not getting caught, yeah, this kid's not the brightest, bro. So once again, he's on TikTok because he honestly can't stay away, because every Gen Z kid has a permanent addiction to the TikTok app. Honestly, though, unless you guys are following me at Pugs on TikTok, there's no other reason to be on that platform, that site. It's kind of dangerous, bro. I'm not even going to lie. The short-form videos are a little scary, even though I do make some myself. Yeah, but anyways, so once again, he's in class, and he gets caught again. But this time, the teacher isn't as chill, which, totally makes sense. Literally a day ago, the teacher gave him a warning when not a single other teacher at that school would give this kid a warning. Like, Alan was really surprised at how nice this teacher was. Yeah, so anyways, the teacher catches the kid again, and the teacher doesn't like blow up on him in the front of the class. Like, I've always kind of found this a little bit annoying when teachers would almost take like, some happiness or glee and like destroying a kid in front of everyone. Yeah, sometimes they did totally deserve it, but I don't know. If you're going to issue them a punishment, it's not like they're not being punished. It's not like they're not being reprimanded. So this teacher was at least cool about it. The teacher kind of just like kind of very quickly and quietly, while everyone else was doing something, walked up to the kids like, hey, this is the second time I've talked to you about this. Like, you can't have your phone. Like, just give it to me. You can have it by the end of the class period. And the the Gen Z kid is like, well, what? Like, I wasn't on my phone. And he like puts his phone in his pocket. And the teacher's like, dude, I don't know if the teacher said dude, but he's like, dude, I just saw you on your phone. You were listening to TikTok videos. Like, I know what you were doing. I'm not blind or going insane. And the Gen Z kid's like, fine, I guess, whatever, man, if you want to be like that. And so he reaches into his pocket and he does actually take out, his phone. And the teacher is not super happy about the amount of attitude he's getting. So he's like, Gen Z Kid. Says his actual name, but he's like, Gen Z Kid, I could be like much stricter with this. Like, I gave you really good leniency. Like, most teachers some teachers send people to the principal's office for having their phone out. Some teachers confiscate it right away. Like, I gave you a warning. Like, I don't know any of my other colleagues that give people warnings. But yeah, the Gen Z kid didn't really understand how he should be grateful for this. And he's like, fine, whatever. He gives up the phone. The teacher's not going to make a stink out of this. Like, this was pretty disrespectful coming from the Gen Z kid. Almost called him a Minecraft kid. Well, this was fairly disrespectful. Like, whatever, man. Like, honestly, whatever. The Gen Z kid, he can be a little stink about it and, whatever, fine. However, the Gen Z kid doesn't end here. So, yeah, the next day in class, the Gen Z kid comes up to the teacher, and so the Gen Z kid starts talking to the teacher in front of everyone. So this should have been probably a private matter, but he decided to make it public. But anyways, the Gen Z kid starts talking to the teacher and says that he has a medical exemption to go on TikTok during class. Yeah, you heard me right. He says that he has a medical exemption to be able to go on TikTok during class. I'm not going to say it a third time, but you did hear me right both times. You're not going crazy. So the Gen Z kid goes on to explain to his teacher that because he has ADHD, that he needs to be on his phone all day. First of all, like, I know a lot of kids have ADHD. It's a real thing. Some people are it's much more difficult for them to, pay attention or focus or whatever. And for that, a lot of people are able to get extended time. Like, you can actually get accommodations for that. But first of all, the Gen Z kid literally has no doctor's note saying so. I get that a lot of people can have something, and it's not like, oh, you need to be diagnosed to have it. Like, yeah, you can definitely have something and not be diagnosed by a doctor. Like, I get that. However, I feel like in something like this, you really should get it officially done. Or I understand why the school needs you to have it officially done, because then I feel like everyone's like, oh, well, actually, I have insert disorder, now give me all the benefits, right? So I understand why the school kind of wants a doctor's note. And yeah, this kid had no doctor's note, no nothing. He just went up to his teacher in front of everyone and said, since I have ADHD, I legally need to be on my phone all day and you can't do anything about it. And the teacher went on to inform him that, he is, accepting for, doctor's notes or something, that to give accommodations, and that there's a very official process to go through with this. Like, you'd have to go through like some kind of department, and like that all happens, that he would happily abide by the accommodations. Like, there's no reason for him not to. However, he says, you can't just come up to me, say, I have ADHD, therefore I should be allowed to go on my phone all class, as one, you have no proof or documentation, and this is something that needs to be done officially. And also, two, it just doesn't really sound like something that even if you had ADHD, that you would have an accommodation. Because the teacher then goes on to say, well, actually I have 3 kids and 2 of them have ADHD, and like, I've been through the whole thing. I've been through the testing. I've been through like the school system where I'm going through it now. Like, I know what accommodations you get, and I know for a fact going on TikTok all day is not one of the accommodations that are given for kids with ADHD, right? So sure enough, the Gen Z kid starts to get mad. He's like, how dare you not accept the disorder I have? Like, you really want like me to fail just because like, you're phobic of you're ADHD phobic, completely ignoring the fact that the teacher literally just said, look, if you actually have if you actually have an official document about this, I will totally be fine with it. And also that he has 2 out of his 3 kids have it and he's been through the whole thing. Like, bro is the least ADHD phobic out of anyone, bro. Like, I'm just saying that. But yeah, sure enough, Gen Z kid. Yeah, you're totally right, bro. He definitely just doesn't like you specifically. And he's like, oh, he's being ADHD phobic by not letting you go on TikTok all day during class, obviously. Anyways, the Gen Z kid's really mad about this, and he's like, I don't know, he storms back to the back of the classroom or whatever. And during this class period, he actually doesn't go on his phone, so I guess that's a plus. But honestly, like, that's the bare minimum. Like, bro is really, like, we're really celebrating the fact that the Gen Z kid was able to do the bare minimum that everyone else does, which aka not go on TikTok for the entire class period. But he was having a fit. Like, Alan was, like, saying about, like, oh, this kid was having, like, such, like, a fit. You know when those, like, kids, they don't get their way or they don't get what they want, and they're upset, and they want you to know that they're upset. Honestly, not even just like kids or whatever. You know when adults, bro, when they're upset or something, or oh, they didn't get what they wanted, so I gotta make sure that I destroy the energy in the room so that everyone realizes I'm having a bad time. Dude, that's the most annoying thing ever. Like, totally, I get it. Have your own problems, have your own things that you're figuring out. But sometimes, look, you don't need to bring it on to everyone else. I have faith in you. You can figure it out. And if you actually want help, if you want me to help you with your problem, be a functioning individual and speak up about it. Speak. Use your words. Don't do little baby pouty faces. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, let's just say that the Gen Z kid was very upset about this. Because the next day, they had a quiz. They had a little quiz or whatever, and the Gen Z kid must have, in protest, decided that he was going to go on TikTok. He was going to go on his phone because not allowing him to do so would be quote-unquote ADHD phobic, by the way. And that he was going to go on his phone and go on TikTok during the quiz they were about to take. So look, it's a pretty big deal at the school if you go on your phone during class. But look, it's even worse to go on your phone during an assessment because they basically tell you you're not supposed to have your phone out, but if you have an electronic device, Apple Watch, phone, whatever, during an assessment, even if you don't use it to assist you, we're still going to penalize you as if you were cheating. Yeah, so if you have your phone out and you're on Twitter checking Elon Musk's new tweet or something, you will actually get a violation for cheating, which sounds a little strict, but I know a lot of schools that had this, and actually my old high school had something like this, and I can understand it because look, the ways that you can cheat online are really easy and they're super plentiful. And a kid could just delete their history and be like, oh, well, I wasn't doing anything on my phone. So schools will just be like, well, you don't need your phone out in the first place when you're taking an assessment. So how about we just assume that any action on your phone will let you know this? It's not cool if they don't let you know this, but most schools, including the one that Alan and the Gen Z kid go to, they've told them repeatedly, if you're on your phone during an assessment, we're just going to assume you're cheating. So you need to be aware of that and not be on your phone. Yeah, maybe if you get a call from your mom or some text being it's super serious, sure. Of course, there's exceptions, but 99% of cases, they're going to be like, all right, well, that's academic dishonesty right there. Yeah, so anyways, the Gen Z kid pulls out his phone during class right after the quiz is distributed. And once again, he starts playing TikTok videos. I think this time he was almost intentionally trying to get caught because he was trying to prove a point. What that point is kind of beats me. Is your point I want to be caught? Please give me a punishment. Okay, bro, do what you want. But he was playing his TikToks full blast. And during a quiz, it's really quiet because everyone's focusing on completing the quiz. So yeah, immediately the teacher sees this. And remember, the teacher has not only given him one warning at this point, he's given him 2 warnings. And he goes up, he walks up to the Gen Z kid, and the Gen Z kid's like, oh, what are you, ADHD phobic? Fine, have my phone then. I think the Gen Z kid didn't realize how serious of a thing he was doing. So the teacher's no, you need to come with me to the front office. We're really strict about phones during quizzes and assessments. We can only assume that you were cheating. And the Gen Z kid's like, what? I was just on TikTok, bro. I obviously wasn't cheating, but you can take my phone to make a punishment of me or whatever. I get you're ADHD phobic or something, and the teacher's like, no, you don't understand. This is really serious. If you made it this far into the video, comment serious down below. That'll be the secret word of the day. And while you're in the comment section commenting serious, make sure to check out the pinned comment, as there's a link to my Spotify account in which I upload all these stories as podcasts. Please listen on there, as well as my second channel in which I upload more story videos, but they're stories from Reddit, not stories from you guys. So if you want to help me out and get more stories every single day, make sure you're subscribed to that channel as well. Anyways, though, so the Gen Z kid is starting to realize that he actually got himself into quite a bit of a pickle, because he's like, he thought that like, oh, the teacher would be like, oh, Gen Z kid, like, I hate you because you have ADHD and I'm going to take your phone, and the whole class is going to be like, wow, oh my God, the teacher's so bad. Gen Z kid, I'm on your side. No. The teacher's like, look, man, this is serious now. Yeah, so I think the Gen Z kid was starting to realize that, oh man, he actually messed up. And like, so it was a pretty big deal at the school to have any type of plagiarism accusation or like anything like that. And the Gen Z kid knew this. So the Gen Z kid starts bickering with the teacher. And he's like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. Like, you know, for a fact I wasn't cheating, which like, I bet the teacher does believe the Gen Z kid. But like, while the teacher was able to be a bit more lenient when it came to, you know, the policy of like phones, like the teacher was able to give a lesser punishment than maybe, you know, his professors or his faculty associates would have. But that's something where you'd be able to be a bit more lenient on. Whenever it comes to cheating or academic honesty, all the teachers basically have to be held to the same standard, or they might even be able to lose their job. So the teacher's like, I can't budge on this. You got to come with me. Like, I'm not going to be the one who decides this. This is officially out of my hands, and it's like my obligation to report this. The teacher probably does believe the Gen Z kid, but that doesn't really matter at this point. And the Gen Z kid's like, I'm not going anywhere. The teacher's like, we need to go. Like, I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. The Gen Z kid's like, I'll give you my phone, but I'm not going anywhere. The teacher's like, well, I mean, you can stay there, but that means I'm going to have to walk up to the front office and then they'll come for you then. Like, it's either you walk up with me or I walk up alone, but either way, you're going to find your way into the principal's office. Like, the teacher was just kind of saying what's up. You guys might be thinking, well, this is a little unfair. Everyone knows the Gen Z kid wasn't actually going on like to cheat. But look, as I said earlier, it was outlined really clearly that you can't be doing this. So the Gen Z kid's like, well, I choose neither. And the teacher's like, all right, well, I'm going to go to the front office. So the teacher is walking up to the front office. And that's when the Gen Z kid, probably out of a fit of desperation, throws his textbook at the teacher. Yeah, so I don't think the Gen Z kid meant to be like as forceful with the textbook. I don't even know what bro was thinking. I think it was just a fit of desperation because he realized how serious of a situation he got himself in. So yeah, he throws a textbook at the teacher, and just by kind of fate and luck, or I guess unluckiness at this point, the textbook, he hurls it, bro. It's a textbook. That thing's heavy. And he throws it fast enough and just at the right angle that it hits the teacher in the head and knocks them out cold. So the whole class is watching this whole ordeal go down in the first place because the Gen Z kid is being super loud and annoying, and it's interrupting their quiz, but they're all thinking, okay, well, this quiz isn't too bad. Like, I have extra time, right? So they're watching, and they watch as the Gen Z kid actually knocks out the teacher in front of everyone. So the whole class goes silent. They were silent before, but it's almost like a new level of silent. Like, even more silent than silent. Like, all the empty air in between, like, all the silence goes away to have nothingness. Like, that's how quiet it is right now. So, yeah, they're all watching. They're all, like, turn their heads. First of all, they all look at the teacher who's on the ground, out cold. Then they all look at the spoiled kid, or the Gen Z kid. And the Gen Z kid, his face, like, all the blood has rushed out of his face. He's obviously really freaked out because, I don't know, I'm sure his intention wasn't to actually knock out his teacher. Almost immediately, a kid gets up and, like, I don't know, I think this kid was a little bit older. I think he had to redo a grade, but he was also more mature than everyone else. He gets up, he goes over to the teacher. He must have done, like, wilderness survival or some kind of EMS training, because he goes up, checks the teacher's pulse to make sure he didn't actually get murked or anything. Sure enough, the teacher's, alive, which is good. That'd be really bad, but knocked out cold. And the kid immediately disappears from the classroom, and we don't hear from him for another minute or so. We'll call that kid Ben. But anyways, the rest of the class, including the subscriber Alan, they're kind of just sitting there looking at, the Gen Z kid who threw a textbook at the teacher's head and knocked him out. And they all just kind of don't know what to do. And, the Gen Z kid's kind of panicking because, I don't know about you, but I believe I would probably be in pretty big trouble if I physically assaulted and knocked out one of my teachers. Like, that just sounds like something you shouldn't be doing, So, yeah, the kid realizes he's about to be in a lot of trouble, and he tries to reason with everyone, like, guys, come on, we don't need to say anything about this. Like, you can just say he tripped, right? And everyone's just looking at this kid because it's not like they necessarily liked or disliked the Gen Z kid, but no one had an allegiance towards him. Like, they're not going to lie just for this kid's sake. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so remember that kid Ben? Yeah, so anyways, that kid Ben who left after checking the pulse of the teacher apparently immediately went up to the security room or whatever, and sure enough, within like a minute, two security officers walked in. One of them went up to the teacher and kind of like checked to make sure he's okay. The teacher was okay, and the teacher at this point was actually slowly coming back to it, right? The other one went over to the Gen Z kid after Ben pointed him out and like grabbed him and like basically pulled him out of the classroom. The Gen Z kid was screaming like, I didn't do anything, you got the wrong guy, it was him, and points towards Alan, and Alan's like, I don't even know this kid, bro. Why is he coming for me like that? But yeah, sure enough, the Gen Z kid was pulled out of the classroom. The guy goes up to the teacher's like coming back to it. He's like, what happened? Because if you think about it, the teacher probably doesn't even know what happened. I mean, he turned around, walking up to the principal's office, then boom, he's out cold. No way he saw, like, unless the principal, or sorry, the teacher has eyes in the back of his head, there's no way that he could know that a textbook was coming right towards him from the Gen Z kid. So yeah, the security guard and then Ben and another classmate basically explain what happened, and the teacher is like literally too stunned to speak. Like, it's not a normal day when your student knocks you out from the back of the head with a textbook, or at least not in any class I've been in.